I'm just noticing it because we do have a very diverse cast, like Los pointed out earlier. So it is nice to see because as a white individual, I guess I never really looked at the cast of shows because it's always just been like, oh, I liked the show, I liked the comedy, but I also grew up watching quite a bit of like most of the shows when going over these, a lot of the shows I watched were more black comedy than the white comedies that I watch.
Hmm.
But I never cared. I did get made fun of, I will tell you that. And it's weird to think that I got made fun of for it, but because when we're all talking about shows when we were younger, most of the shows that I watched were of black families, not white families, and people thought that was weird. I never saw a difference. I was like, why does it matter if I watch Sister Sister and That's So Raven rather than Lizzie McGuire? And they're like,
Yeah.
well, because you look like Lizzie McGuire. I'm like, but That's So Raven's fucking hilarious. Why wouldn't I watch that?
Exactly.
Just because I'm white. So I guess for me, I got kind of like criticized for watching non-white shows, but I never noticed the difference, I guess, because it was just, I
It
hate to
didn't phase
say it,
you
but it was
because
just
you were already
people.
No,
exposed to it.
for you, it was simple. Funny is funny. And so
Mhm.
this is the type of humor you like, so that's what you watched.
Yeah.
People who were making fun of you were very narrow-minded people.
Oh yeah,
Um,
and I know that because I grew up in a very racist area, to be
you
fair.
know,
Oh, okay.
so
Until I moved down south. When I moved down south, people didn't give a fuck. Go on.
Where
No.
what
I grew
state
up
are
in
you?
Oregon. And then
Okay.
I
oh,
live in
okay.
Arizona now. So up in Oregon, which is one of the last states to have a lot of racial tension, um, it was up there, and like even my family, when I brought home a black boyfriend, it was like looked down on and stuff. And I was like, I guess. And he made a big deal. He's like, every white girl I ever date, their family, hates me. So I need to make sure your family likes me before we go into it. I was like, my family's gonna love you. Why wouldn't they love you? He's like, because I'm black. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. I love you. And he was like, no, it matters to people. And it actually did to my family. And I never understood it. And I guess, like, for me, I just never understood. I grew up, when I was in Arizona, we were 10 minutes from the border. So I was like, quite often minority. I mean, it was like 46 to 50, not that big of a minority, but still, like, I guess I never saw it. So it's eye opening to see you guys talk about different shows growing up and how you gravitated towards them a lot because of their diverse cast. Whereas, like, for me, I guess I'm just now looking at them like, oh, how many did have a diverse cast? Because I remember, like, Will and Grace had one of the first, like, big
Gay.
gay things,
Mhm.
so people didn't like that. I loved Will and Grace, but I'm
Yeah.
so
bisexual,
funny.
so of course I did, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I liked the podcast. I liked to see the opening up of, what was important to you guys when choosing your TV shows, and that happened to be a very, like, reoccurring thing. So I wanted to ask about it.
I think that's also one of the reasons why it's important to have a diverse cast, because just like you said, you didn't think about that until you came on the podcast, and because of that, of the diversity of our podcast, it opened up your eyes to that. Like, and I think that's why we need more of that in television and in film and in music, because a
Yeah.
lot of people have different stories to tell. If you
Yeah.
if you just show one side of the coin, you're not getting like you're kind of like closing your eyes like to the rest of the world. You want to broaden your horizons. You want to open up your eyes to like everything and not just be so narrow minded. So I think that's one of the reasons why we want to have more diversity in film, is so people can tell their story too, you know?
Not
So
only that, it's important for people to see a representation of themselves on screen.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you highlight what they are. What matters is that any kid from any race can see themselves on TV just as a character included in a movie. And that's
Mhm.
all a lot of minorities are looking for. Can I see myself on TV? Period. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I think that's important to a lot of people.